What is going on, good people of YouTube? It is me, Chavez, back with another Prize Picks video for February 5th, Sunday, February 5th, 2023. We have 6 games on the NBA slate, and I want to start by first recapping our picks from yesterday. So we had 2 picks yesterday. We had Vucevic over his first half PRA of 17.5, and we had McCollum over his full game assist at 5.5. Went 1-1 on the day. McCollum came through with 7 assists for us. Had a very good game. Didn't really sweat that one at all. Vucevic, however, was not so good to us. Fell short by 2 PRA in the first half. Finished with 16. Needed 17 or needed 18 actually. I'm sorry. Needed 18. This line actually got bumped towards the end of the day from 17.5 to 18.5, which made me feel really, really good about the play because a lot of people were going over on it. So it made me feel like 17.5 was a lock, but fell short. Fell short by 2. Did have a very good second half. Came out and scored 22 PRA against the Portland Trail Blazers, but he just didn't have it for us in the first half. But 1-1, I'll take it. Today we're looking to go 2-0. So I got two plays that I want to share with you today, as well as a couple of extra plays that one literally just got dropped on the board. I was kind of waiting on it. I'm glad to see it. And I have another one that could get bumped up, and I wanted to just share that with you. But let's just go ahead and get started. So my first play on the day is going to be Paolo Banchero over his rebounds at 6.5. Now, I like this because obviously his game log looks very strong. 4 out of his last 5, he's gone over 7 or more rebounds. But also I want to bring to your attention that Orlando is going to be a little shorthanded today due to that brawl that happened with Minnesota 2 days ago. Mo Bamba's out. So I'm not sure what that absence does for, Paolo Banchero. Do we see him on the floor more? Do we see him rolling into the 5 a little bit more if they go small lineup versus the Hornets? Mason Plumlee is a very good center. He's got his good qualities. But we're talking about 7 rebounds for Paolo Banchero. I think he can get that for us. Keep in mind also, or not keep in mind, but just to support that a little bit more, Charlotte is allowing the most rebounds per game in the NBA. Well, second to most in the NBA. So 29th in the league, allowing 46 rebounds per game. And they're also allowing 119 points per game. Field goal percentage is very high per game, 26th in the NBA there. So a lot of good ways to attack Charlotte. I just think this line for Paolo Banchero at 6.5 is a little low. So I want to lock that in. And then from the same game, I did have interest in Terry Rozier's 3 points made because the line continues to stay the same at 2.5. It's just not up on Prize Picks right now. So if that were to drop here in the next hour or so, I would be looking into that. But I just like that. I thought that was a nice line for us, being that we've had success with Terry Rozier in the past, but we're not going to force anything on any line or in any game. So that's going to be play number 1 for you. And then play number 2 for you, we're going to go over to Cleveland, Indiana, where the pace of play should be up for Cleveland, a little down for Indiana. So Cleveland plays at the slowest pace in the league, not even averaging 100 possessions a game, while Indiana plays at the 3rd fastest pace in the league, giving you 104 possessions. So I like the over on Tyrese Haliburton assist. You can also look to Tyrese Haliburton assist and in points. Don't be scared off by his last game versus the Sacramento Kings. He had a really bad shooting night versus the Kings. He only put up 10 points. He only shot the ball 12 times, but he was 4 of 12, which is pretty low percentage. Just didn't have a good game. Much like Domantas Sabonis, who did not have a good game against the Kings. His shot chart was a little low also. He shot the ball 13 times. He was only like 45% from the field. Very low for him. He's usually in the 60s. So I expect a bit of positive regression from both of those players. And I do mention Sabonis because I did have interest in his line We'll get to that in a second, but it did get bumped up. But we'll cover that in a few minutes if you have interest in his line, even though it did get bumped. But I do like Haliburton over on his assists today. The line on Prizepicks is set at 9, which I like. Because the very worst that can happen, well, the worst that can happen is he doesn't hit it. But he can hook it, and it doesn't derail your lineups. We obviously don't play the hook. But if it does happen, you're still alive with the rest of your players. So I do like that. We have that going for us. Paolo Banchero over rebounds. Haliburton over assists. 2 extra plays I like. CJ McCollum over 32.5 PRA. I don't want to speculate or like assume, but I do question if Brandon Ingram will be able to play his full allotments of minutes today, being that it is a back-to-back. He played so well versus the Lakers yesterday. Kind of gave it all he had yesterday kind of game. So I wonder if the coaching staff already knew that going into this game and kind of let him go out there and just like not restrict him, knowing that he'd get a chance to rest on Sunday, whether it's just like a DNP or just limit his role, limit his minutes. In any one of those situations, I do like CJ McCollum to step up, and I do like his PRA for that reason. This is actually set at 33.5 on most books, 32.5 over on Prizepicks, so we are getting a little bit of a discount here. But you can see, even with Ingram in the lineup these last 2 games, he's been right there. 32 and 31. He's been right there. Without Ingram in the lineup, obviously, you know what he was doing. He was carrying his team. So a lot of interest in this. This is definitely in play for me. So I like that, as well as Fred VanVleet over on his points, 22.5. Memphis is another team that's dealing with some injury news or just some absences. So obviously, Steven Adams is not in the lineup right now, but now John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. are questionable, and Dylan Brooks is out. I believe he got in a fight with somebody, so he's out. He's now been suspended for a game. So with all that mess going on, you still have OG Anunoby out for the Raptors, and Fred VanVleet has just been very steady these last few games. 8 out of his last 10, 26 over his last 5, 27 over his last 10. Nice pace-up play, nice pace-up game for Toronto, who actually is pretty slow. They're 26 in the league in pace of play, but Memphis is 2. So anytime you have that discrepancy, I mean, possessions go up. Possessions go up for sure. I think a really good example of that is when Cleveland played Memphis. They're dead last in the league in pace of play. I mean, they're 30th in the league. They played Memphis, and they finished that game with 106 possessions. I mean, just playing a team that's that fast is going to add more possessions. It's going to add more shot volume. It's going to add a lot of different things to the production of that game. So, or just the way that game flows, I should say. So, yeah. With all that being said, I like Fred VanVleet today over his points, 22.5. So that's going to be my 4. Those are going to be my 4 plays that I have on the board right now. And I was waiting on that Banchero line to drop because I had interest in it, and it finally did drop. So these are what I like, and just want to share a couple of like notes that I took along with those stats that I reeled off for Charlotte. Orlando's also allowing a healthy amount of 3-pointers a game. They're 28th in the NBA defending the 3. They're giving up 13 per game. Giving up a lot of assists per game, 24th in the league, or 26 assists per game is a lot, and that's 24th in the league. And then keep in mind the injury news for Orlando. Cleveland, man, I had interest in Darius Garland's assist prop, but I don't believe that's on the board. I believe on props.cash his line is set. So now it is. So this is set at 8, and I believe on props.cash it was set at 7.5 for his assist. No. Well, let me pick the right player first. Darius Garland, 7.5 on props.cash. It's 8 on Prizepicks, meaning he needs 9 to hit this. He's done this against Indiana before. He's done this across the board over his last 5 and 10 games. That is another strong pick for Darius Garland here, to go over his 8 assists, being that this is a pace-up game as well. And I'm just looking at my notes here because I had a few names on it on my notes here. So when these players drop, Evan Mobley over his points at 16.5. I don't want to like give too many picks out here because it's too easy to name everybody you like. But these are just some plays that stood out to me. These are just some plays that stood out to me in this faster game for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Garland over his assists, Mobley over his points, and those are definitely in play. But in terms of what I've locked in already, I've locked in Fred VanVleet over his points, Haliburton over his assists, McCollum over his PRA, Paolo over his rebounds, and I have my two-man here between Fred VanVleet and Tyrese Haliburton. And then with these names, and then also with the names that I just mentioned over here with Mobley and Garland, I wonder if Rozier's three-pointers were added. No. Yeah, along with those extra names, start creating a couple of some more two-man plays just to kind of round out my slips. But that's gonna do it. That is the video for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel, checking this video out. Just one video today. Sundays are real funny because the tip-offs are starting to get a little earlier on Sundays now that the NFL season is winding down. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of like noon tip-offs. Doing an early look video and then quick turnaround and doing a final look video on a Sunday. It's easier for me just to do one video and kind of like cover everything in one video. It just flows a little better for me on a Sunday. So one video today. We'll be back tomorrow with an early look video for Monday's slate. Thank you again for stopping by the channel. Drop me a comment below letting me know who your favorite prop on the day is. Also, what do you think about these early picks, or not even early picks? Just what do you think about these picks in general in terms of what I'm locking in? Banchero over his rebounds. You have Haliburton over his assists. Those are my two main guys there. And then in terms of a few plays that I'm also adding into the mix, we got CJ McCollum over his 32.5 points, and then Fred VanVleet over his 22.5 points. So I don't know if I said McCollum 32 points, 32.5 PRA for McCollum, and then 22.5 points for Fred VanVleet. So there you have it. Thanks a lot for stopping by the channel and just chilling out with me, talking some NBA props. And until the next video, Chavez is out.